SiteGround, too expensive. GoDaddy, a bit confusing. I need a website name, and I need it cheap. Oh my god! Hey guys, today we're gonna review Namecheap and figure out if Namecheap hosting offers anything good, or if you should just avoid it entirely. The main part of all Namecheap reviews is the pricing. So let's take a closer look. If we go with a 2-year purchase period from the start, we can get the cheapest plan currently for around $1.5 a month. This basically translates to under $40 for 2 years of hosting, which is, by current market standards, what historians would call a pretty sweet deal. If we compare this to, I don't know, let's say Bluehost, for the same $40, you'll only get a year of hosting. Even 2 years with Hostinger would cost you around $50 or $60. So yeah, Namecheap is truly a cheap hosting provider. What you might notice is that even the cheapest plan packs a free domain name for a year. While that does sound like an amazing deal, keep your horses steady for this one. Yes, it does give you a domain name, but only for these domain extensions, meaning no .com or .net for you. To get these extensions, you'll have to buy them. But you can get a cheap domain here with a quite big discount, so it's not that bad. Another unique thing about this hosting provider is the fact that it gives you free whole websites with the cheapest plan. It's kind of becoming an industry standard that the cheapest shared hosting plans always come with max one website. I'm not gonna lie, this is quite a generous move from Namecheap. And when we add all of this together, this plan might be the most affordable web hosting option if you want to test, something out or run a few personal projects. Of course, for e-commerce or business websites, you'll need to go with the Stellar Business Plan, since it includes a bit more powerful hardware and, well, nearly everything else is unlimited. You might have just noticed something. This more expensive business plan comes with a 50 gigabytes of storage space limitation, while the previous plan had no limitation. Why would that be? While Stellar Plus gives you unlimited space, you only get a 300,000 inode limit, which means you're limited by the number of files you can upload, but not their size. The business plan has a 600,000 inode limit while limiting storage space, so you can have more files but need to manage their size. Again, this is meant for e-commerce, and in general, it might just be the cheapest web hosting for businesses. Use the link in the description down below if you want a cheap and a straightforward hosting provider. These links will help you get the best deal on this already cheap provider, but they also help us make more detailed reviews and tutorials, so thanks for using them. Okay, good. Namecheap does offer cheap web hosting, we get that. Yet it is more of an old school provider, so seeing it offers its own control panel combined with cPanel makes sense. And in my opinion, well, it works, but it is just all over the place. Compared to providers like Hostinger or Bluehost, the custom Namecheap web hosting control panel just feels unnecessarily complicated and hard to follow. So if it's your first hosting adventure, Namecheap may have a slight learning curve. If you have some experience, you do get Namecheap cPanel, so everything should feel familiar, and managing it should fit like a glove. But if you follow this channel for a bit, you know my opinion about cPanel. If it were still 2014, right, it would be a great option. But now, most providers have much better and more accessible dashboards. Installing or managing WordPress is done through cPanel and Softaculous App Installer. It works. It just requires more work than some other solutions would offer. Like, if we compare the steps needed for us to create a new WordPress with Namecheap and Bluehost, the difference for beginners would be obvious. Don't get this all wrong though. It still gives you everything you need, just not in the smoothest way. So, as I stated at the start of this section, Namecheap provides you with hosting and domains, but that's kind of it. It's not a provider that tries to improve its services for beginners, so be ready to do a bit of learning if you go with Namecheap. One thing that I give extra attention to, especially when something is cheap, it's performance. It's easy to offer cheap hosting if you run servers and hardware from 2001. How is Namecheap in this regard? Surprisingly, not as bad as I thought. No, it's not perfect, and providers like Hostinger can offer similar pricing but better performance results. But if we look into the market overall, that's very decent. To put this into more perspective, the average website loading speed currently is about 7 or so seconds, while Google recommends loading within 2.5 seconds for the best result. Next in my Namecheap web hosting review, let me be absolutely honest. It's great that Namecheap offers cheap hosting plans and a free website builder, but at some point, a tool is so obsolete that it becomes, well, not useful. If I advertised my hosting with free paint software from 2005, I would probably be booed off the stage right now. This is the situation with the Namecheap website builder. The most obvious concern is the templates. They look really boring and built still using old school web designs in mind. But it works, right? Surprisingly, yes. It's very unintuitive and requires a lot of time to get the hang of it how it works. If we compare this to, let's say, the free WordPress Elementor plugin, you can immediately see the difference. Even the design is much more fun to work with. Ultimately, I don't recommend going with Namecheap just for the builder. There are tons of better free alternatives you can find by subscribing to our channel. Will you pay cheap and get the best security suite? Naturally, no. But Namecheap isn't some pushover and covers the basics for web security. For the standard web protection, each plan comes with free positive SSL that is automatically installed for your website. It also adds DDoS protection and firewalls to make this a decent security package, but again, nothing to write home about. What is a bit less standard is domain privacy protection that comes for free, as Namecheap states, for a lifetime. For those who don't know, every time you register a domain name, your details like email, phone, and name are publicly available for everyone to look at. With protection, instead of seeing your details, everyone will just see Namecheap details. This helps prevent spam or just keep your information private. Another thing, I usually look for automatic backups in every provider I review. These have saved my butt more times than I would like to admit it. So I have to give a point for Namecheap for adding them to shared hosting plans starting with Stellar Plus. So let's wrap this Namecheap hosting review and answer. Is Namecheap good? Well, yeah, for users wanting decent hosting on a tight budget. It might not be the best web hosting out there, but it's great for personal blogs or small projects. Sure, it's not the most beginner-friendly or super fast, but if you're willing to get your hands a bit dirty, Namecheap will be a great choice for your next web project. What are your thoughts about this provider? Is Namecheap trustworthy? Let's discuss this in the comments section. As always, you can find the best discounts on screen and in the description. This has been Danny, and I'm signing off.